Just when they frustrate you most, they find a way to completely redeem themselves. The Guardians' offense steps up, the defense steps up, they avoid a sweep, and hopefully, finally, can find some momentum heading into a very important July series with the Chicago White Sox.
You are Locked On Guardians, your daily podcast on the Cleveland Guardians. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
When it gets hot, the Guardians apparently thrive. They can stay in the kitchen, right? They say if you can't handle the heat, stay out of the kitchen. The Guardians handled the heat on Wednesday, avoiding the sweep of the Texas Rangers, thanks to a beleaguered bat and a guy who doesn't get enough love. We'll talk about all that today on Locked On Guardians. We're going to go deep on the draft later in today's show. We've been promising it for a couple of days. We haven't done it yet. Today's the day. We'll talk about the Guardians White Sox series ahead. But first, we talk about how the Guardians got an important bat going again, and an important glove needs some love. This is Locked On Guardians, your only daily Cleveland Guardians podcast that covers your team every day from the majors, the minors, the draft, and everything in between. We will touch on all three phases in this show today. And I want to let you know today's episode also is brought to you by Kalshi. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app. Use code Locked On to get $10 when you trade 10. Kalshi. Trade on anything. That is Jeff Ellis, host of Locked On Guardians for 8 years. I'm Justin Lada. Been here with Jeff for 4 years, and we've known each other for over 10 years now and longer than that. And we've both been covering the team for 19 years when it comes to the draft and the minors. Chase just needed a break, right, Jeff? Chase DeLauter just needed a break, literally. He needed to fracture his ribs and take a seat, and comes back. I think he's got, 11 hits in his first 5 games back. He played right field for the first time on Wednesday. He made a catch running into the wall in foul territory, which, I don't know, any catch that Chase DeLauter makes anymore, if he's not standing still, I'm holding my breath. Yeah, I'm holding my breath every time the ball's hit his way that isn't like a pop-up or directly at him. But, man, I don't know where they'd be without Chase DeLauter the last couple of days. I mean, really good game against the Mariners. He did his part Monday and Tuesday against the Rangers, and then Wednesday, 3 more hits. Yeah, I think that takes him to 11 since he's come off the IL. And more amazingly, he missed 2 weeks of action and didn't even go on a rehab assignment. And it's very, that rib is not 100% healed. You know how hard it is to play any sport, but baseball, where it's so rotational, on a rib like that, and as well as he's doing it, very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he maybe needed to go to the minors to get a break. It turned out he just needed to get hurt, and that was the break he needed. He had a fan. It was a day for guys who've been kind of rough on, with Fry as well, coming up with the big 3-run home run. A lot of wild pitches on the other side for Texas, and Cleveland's bullpen was shaky, but you got to enjoy a nice 9-run affair with all the offensive struggles of late. It was nice to see them get that many runners across when it's all said and done. Make it so you didn't care that, Matt Festa was in late, or you weren't upset about the bullpen giving back some runs. But yeah, I mean,
were you?
I mean, once they broke it open, I was nervous as heck when things looked like they're getting away from Gaddis. Like, great, they're gonna lose.
Austin Hedges, of all people, who broke it open. I thought it was. I thought for sure, I thought when they had the 5-run inning, they were going to win. But then again, they've had a lot of games this last couple of weeks where they score all the runs in one inning and they'll score again. So, yeah, adding on was good. But, I give them credit. They manufactured a run early, right? They did the safety squeeze with Hedges, who seems to be the only guy that can do something like that. That worked out good. And then they got a wild pitch that gave them a run. They seemed to rattle Mackenzie Gore. I thought they had a chance to win Monday night, and then I thought that was the game. I kind of figured the rate they've been going, they've been winning 1 out of 3 except for the Mariners series. So I figured that the game they would win would be Monday, and then they'd lose to DeGrom and Gore, and they lost to DeGrom, but they beat Gore, and he hasn't been that great. But yeah, they played small ball early, and then home runs by David Fry, who, we were saying yesterday doesn't have a place on this team. Ends up hitting home run off a lefty, which probably buys him. I mean, I don't think he was going anywhere anyway, as much as we think that there's no longer a fit. The organization really likes him, and let's be honest. Every time Gabriel Arias gets a hit, he buys himself another month of games, and I think David Fry with that home run probably.
I mean, we make those jokes. Remember, it's like we made that joke, and then Bo Naylor the next day they traded for.
That's true. That's true. He hit the home run, and then
his home run, and then the next day he was in Arizona.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So maybe there is,
David Fry hitting the home run. Guys have to be added to the roster. That's what's going to be.
Or if they can find, or I mean, the Patrick Bailey thing was, I know you called your shot on that or was hoping, but a very rare occurrence. So maybe they'll make a move at the deadline that replaces David Fry. We'll see, but I highly doubt it. The other side of things in this game too is they don't win this game without Daniel Schneeman. I mean, I think he turned, I want to say 3 double plays, at least 2. And then was the 3rd inning or the 6th inning? I forget when it was, but I know he bailed the bullpen out with a huge set of plays, but he had 2 plays going to his right. And I know they had runners on and they got 1 run across because of the ground out. But if he doesn't get to that ball, more runners score. And who knows how that inning goes. Daniel Schneeman, without his defense today, this team probably doesn't win the game. I mean, I know they scored 9, but I could think of a few more runs crossing the plate if Daniel Schneeman's not playing second there. And as much as people are saying you guys defend Travis Bazzana because he's the number 1 pick, I'll be straight up. Travis Bazzana doesn't make those plays. He did make a nice play defensively on Tuesday, but the plays Daniel Schneeman made in this game, Travis Bazzana doesn't make. Those were Andres Jimenez plays. That was a very big and important moment in the game. And I know he didn't have any hits today. He had the 2 hits on Tuesday, and then he was going to get pinch hit for Reese Hoskins, whatever. But Daniel Schneeman, just give the man the utility Gold Glove right now.
Well, or is it going to go to Quan by the end of the year because he's playing multiple outfield spots? Might be internal competition. It was interesting because all 3 games in the series, Cleveland lost even in this one, they lost the base runner war because they, only the other side had 6 walks and Cleveland only had 2. So even though they had more hits, they lost, I believe, it in every game in the Seattle series. So there's, it's one of those changes. They did have 2 walks, but they're still, the reason they won was the extra base hits. They had 11 hits, but 5 of them were for extra bases, and that's a big separator. And what they've been doing a lot of late is not having those extra base hits, not having the 3-run home run, not having any home run, or having a very limited one. I know they had the 2-run shot from Manzardo the day before, but then they had nothing else, and that's one of the issues we've been seeing. So this was just nice to see half of their hits essentially being extra base hits. So
yeah,
that stood out.
Yeah. I also want to mention too on Tuesday, I forgot to get to this on Tuesday, on Wednesday show, but I was in the game on Tuesday night. They had Justin Masterson and Matt Laporta there as alumni ambassadors, and the PA announcer, when they were going to throw the first pitch out, had said, "Welcome back, Cleveland legends, Justin Masterson and Matt Laporta." And I wasn't drinking anything at the time, but if I was, I would have spit it out because nothing against Matt Laporta. I don't know the guy personally, but Cleveland legend. Matt Laporta, even that's a stretch. That's a stretch even for Justin Masterson. That's a bridge for Matt Laporta. That was
Cleveland legend. Everyone remembers him. Isn't a legend a long remembered figure? He's a pretty long remembered finger. See you rubbing your eye in that figure.
Yeah.
Here.
It's not Adam Miller. He's not Adam Miller. I guess he had a better
I think now more people know Matt Laporta than Adam Miller. I got to be honest, because at least he played here. A lot of people are just like Adam Miller. He never got to the big leagues.
Yeah, that was very random to see that. Oh man! All right, well, we got some minor league news, some interesting, exciting news, and some not so good news to get to when it comes to the Guardians farm system. We'll talk about that. We'll take a quick look at the White Sox series ahead and. Going deep on the draft today, we'll talk about pick number 19, but we're also going to throw some other names out there down the board that you should be paying attention to for Cleveland. So we'll cover all the rest of that here coming up. Baseball season heating up. We're hitting July, which means trade deadline, draft, all the fun stuff. And baseball season, you can trade every game on Kalshi. You can trade every single game. I'm not going to look at tomorrow's game for the White Guardians and White Sox. Actually, I'm going to look at on Kalshi the division winner and the rookie of the year race in the American League. So Right now, the Guardians are trading at a 40% chance to win the American League Central. The White Sox, the probability has moved ahead there for them at a 44% chance. So that's what the market says about that. In predictions, the Guardians have fallen 4% below. And then when it comes to AL Rookie of the Year winner, Parker Messick trading at a 3% chance to win in the prediction market. So if you think Parker Messick's got a shot, you can throw $50 on that, and you can pay out $670 if that ends up coming out on that side. You're trading against peers in a live market on Kalshi No House. When the probability changes, you can buy in out of your position for a little bit of time. Download the Kalshi app. Use code Locked On to get $10 when you trade 10 KALSHI. Kalshi. Trade on anything. 18 plus only. Restriction eligibility requiring supply. Event contract trading involves risk. May not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory. Check out the Everydayer Club. You can get access to the private listener Discord, which includes Jeff, myself, but also other listeners of the show who are Guardians fans and maybe some other fans. I saw a Texas Ranger fan there during the series. That was interesting. So you want to talk some smack, you want to vent a little bit about frustrating games, and if you also want ad-free episodes of the show on audio, you can get that all at the Everydayer Club. That is lockedonguardians.supercast.com, or go to the link in your show notes. Should we start with the better news in the minors, or should we go straight to the bad news, Jeff?
I think we should start with the bad news because it ties into yesterday's show.
Yeah, unfortunately, we talked about Justin Campbell, who was a great comeback story this year, had not pitched since 2022 in college, the year he was drafted by Cleveland, made the AAA. We talked about, he's got to be on the 40-man roster at the end of the year. Maybe he's an option to help the Guardians bullpen or something by the end of the season. Well, he didn't even throw a pitch in his first AAA start. He was warming up and something wasn't right. He called the trainer out and didn't make his start. So he was pointing at like his somewhere in his back area. So I was like, well, is it his back? Is it his lat muscle? Is it the teres major? Like, a couple of years ago, that was a injury guys kept getting hurt with. Like, was it Clevenger and Clase? I think both had it in 2020.
Yeah, I can't remember who had it.
Yeah, it was like
it was Clevenger for sure. I remember Clevenger for sure.
Yeah, I think Clase had it, and then he was suspended for the steroid thing after that. So
he was suspended for all of 2020. He never pitched for the team in 2020. The whole season was suspension.
Yeah. I think he was hurt in spring training before the suspension. I think he was suspended after they called spring training off because of the pandemic. So should have seen the signs there. But I hope it's nothing serious for Justin Campbell. That really stinks if he is coming down with another injury. Like, it's just at this point, like, you can't have any more with him. So hopefully it's just a minor thing, and he was being cautious because of his history and called the trainers out, and they decided to be cautious. I hope that's the case. But, as of right now, probably temper that expectation if there was any chance of Campbell helping out the big league team this year.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a guy like Campbell's, there's two thought processes, right? Either he's had so many injuries that, like, a slight thing, he's just going to have, an abundance of caution and get it checked, or, that he's a guy who might try to play through a small thing because he just wants to stay on the field. Like, either one could be the case. So I'm not going to try to project what this injury is. I'm not going to try to put a backstory to it. But yeah, it stinks, and it stinks for him. I was on a walk when you texted me that. I was talking to my dad on the phone. Took a nice hour and a half walk today. I was explaining the situation to him about how much it stinks for these kids. Like, it's the same reason we were so hyped for Espino to finally make it. It's like when you've had all this missed time, it just stinks of any injury, even if it's a small one that helps derailment for him, because they're gonna have to add him to the roster no matter what at the end of the season. So he had a legit chance to miss 3 straight years and then make to the big leagues.
Yeah, that would have been a crazy story. And hopefully that's still the case. Hopefully this is just precautionary and he misses this start. Maybe he misses another and then he finally gets the pitch in AAA or something. Hope that's the case for him. I was excited to see what he did at AAA and get some more really good data on him from that first start. On the good side of things, the Guardians had 2 representatives in the MLB Features game, which is All-Star Weekend during the draft. And what else did they still did a celebrity softball game? I think
I have no idea. I don't pay attention to anything during that weekend.
I'm
outside of the
draft. Yeah, that's true. Ralphy Velazquez is making his second futures game. I looked up a while ago what players have had 2 invites to the futures game. There's some good names on there. There's some bad names on there. Like, I was wondering, like,
there's more bad than good.
Yeah, I was like, is that a good thing?
Because you often have to stick around.
Yeah. And Cooper Ingle is the other one. Now, Cooper Ingle probably isn't going to be available to play in that one because I can't imagine he'll be back in AAA at that point. So I probably won't go to that one. But he was picked for it, which is good for him. I'm excited to see Ralphie, though. Like, he did it in 2024 when the game was at Texas, and he put on one of the most impressive batting practice performances that anybody had seen there. I know every year Jeff Ponce, our buddy, and JJ Cooper from Baseball America do a home run derby counter in batting practice to see who hits the most. I think Ralphie hit the most, and they all said he had the most impressive round of BP. So that's exciting. At least he's going to that one. The other theory here, I guess I'll throw cold water on everybody here too. We should talk about this because we talked about it off air yesterday. So I know a lot of people are like, oh, they should, Ralphie should come up this year, and he's doing really well. And you and I had said a few weeks ago that when he was promoted to AAA, that maybe there was a non-zero chance we would see Ralphie in 2026. I think the only way that really happens is if there's like some injuries or something, because I think if there were injuries, like say Kyle Manzardo was to get injured tomorrow, they'd probably more likely go with, as much as it's not, as sexy, they'd probably go with CJ Kayfus, right? Like, they've been more aggressive. Yeah. But the big reason, not just tied to his performance, which Ralphie is getting better recently at AAA. He's struggled, but things look a little better. He's having to settle in because he's new and he's young. But next year with the looming lockout, anybody who's on the 40-man roster, any major leaguers, cannot go to spring training. So almost assuredly that spring training is going to be delayed next year. Who knows how many games because of the lockout and the labor dispute. Anybody on the 40-man roster cannot go to spring training and play or practice or whatever. But that doesn't include minor leaguers. And Ralphie Velazquez does not have to be on the 40-man roster until 2027, December of 2027. So he doesn't need to be on the 40. I think it's very unlikely for Cleveland to add Ralphie this year and then have the threat of the lockout next year and him not be able to go to spring training and miss that development time. I know people are going to say it sounds silly that, why would they care about spring training next year? He's a high school kid. He's got Scott Boras as his agent. He's going to make the major leagues at a young age. He's going to hit free agency at a young age, depending on how the CBA works out. I don't think Cleveland's going to take the chance of losing a year with him, and God only knows what happens with next year. Our guy's going to get service time for time missed because of the lockout. Like, is that going to happen? I don't think Cleveland's going to take a risk with that, to be honest. So I don't think we'll see him this year.
Yeah, like I said, I think if he was absolutely demolishing AAA, they'd at least consider it if they had a need.
Yeah.
Or if they wanted to. But he's been inconsistent. It's an adjustment. It's, you're facing a lot better control. You're facing guys who can hit their spots more, and it's a different baseball. It's a lot of things are very different at that level, and he's just been kind of average. So for him to have even got there without your added point, I think would have taken him just blowing the doors off, and he hasn't. Like, let's be honest, he has not done that. So, yeah, I mean, you and I still think he's, clearly one of the top prospects. We can debate one or two in the system. So it's not a knock on him, but it's just, I know everyone wants to see the new hotness all the time. That's just how it is. It is always about, the minute everyone gets to AAA, they immediately want them in the majors, but it takes some time to get there. And that's just, that's part of the process. So we are still high on him, even with, him being kind of mediocre right now. He'll recover, he'll figure it out, and he'll be great.
Yes, you want the new hotness. Instead, you get old and busted. Comment if you that's a very deep cut of a reference there. Did you get that?
I don't know. I feel like that's not. To me, that's a
really
deep cut.
Okay,
I feel like that's a common line from that movie.
Okay, I feel like that's a deep cut.
But maybe I just reference that one all the time. So maybe it's just
maybe you do. It's one of my favorite actors. So we'll see if anybody gets that in the comments. Let us know if you got that reference at about the 19-minute mark there. All right, we got to talk White Sox series ahead. We won't dive too deep just because we did just see the White Sox, but we'll talk about a few key things coming up in the series. And then after that, if you're a draftnik, This is your time. We're going to go deep. We're going to talk 19, but we're also going to pick or look at other picks below and what other names you should keep an eye on. Summer's here. That means lots of fun events. If you're watching the weather, maybe whether it's a concert or a baseball game you're trying to get tickets to, you want to pay a better price than you see out there, and maybe you're just scared of how hot it is. Great time to turn to Game Time because you avoid long queues, you avoid surprise fees because the price you see is the price you pay. The prices don't jump at checkout, and you get the Game Time guarantee, which means you get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time at the best price. Because again, the price you see is the price you pay, and it makes it really easy for you to check the weather and just wait until that event's going to start, whether it's a baseball game or a concert, whatever's going on. You wait till the last second to get those tickets if the weather's good. If not, you're getting a great price, and you're not having to make those plans ahead of time, and you don't feel guilty because you spent the money on tickets. So take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time or any event. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create the account, use code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Hit the bell and or subscribe first to the YouTube channel. We'd appreciate that. But hit the bell so you get notified of all the reaction videos. Try to have a lot of fun with the reaction videos to games, win or lose. I love doing the reaction videos, Jeff, because it's like raw and real in the moment. Like when I was at the game the last 2 nights, by the time I drive home from the game, my frustration and knee jerkiness has kind of worn off a little bit. So I don't get to spill my first thoughts and all of the vitriol when they don't play well, or all the excitement when they do play well. But when I do the reaction videos to the game, I get to kind of spew all that for about 90 seconds. So if you want those more raw and real takes in the moment, hit the bell on YouTube. We'll get notified of when those are up, as well as episodes, and then auto download on your favorite audio platforms so you never miss the full episode, where we still promise to give you everything we got every single day. Because whether it's 100-degree heat or snowing, Jeff, we're here every single day fighting.
Unless it's doing 100-degree heat and snowing, then it's probably end times.
I don't think anybody would be here for that. Actually, I'm pretty sure we'd all be.
I think
looking for salvation.
Food.
Yeah, food. Honestly,
shelter.
Honestly,
avoiding the mutants.
I'm probably just jumping in the lake. Yeah. I'll be getting my half-drinking water bottles off the side of the table. That's what I'll be doing. Another fun movie reference. I think we've referenced that one before, though. The swing away, Merrill.
Yes.
All right, so the Guardians avoided Davis Martin last time when they faced the White Sox. They lost 2-3 to Chicago. It was a bumpy series. They won one game, and the bullpen was very, very scary in the game they actually won. But they'll face Anthony Kay, Sean Burke, and Eric Fetty again, the same 3 they faced last time, but this time it's Davis Martin. That's the only change since then for the White Sox, right? I don't think anything else has changed since then. I think have they made any roster changes since then? There's Antonacci still there. Jacob Gonzalez. Noah Schultz is back, but he pitched tonight, so that's not anything big. No, everything seems. Kyle Teal's back off the IL. That's what it is. Kyle Teal's off the IL.
But he played in the series against Cleveland. He was off the IL.
Oh, did he? Okay.
He was off the IL for the last series.
Nothing has changed then. They are still the same scrappy, annoying team that is going to be tough. But you seem to think this Davis Martin thing is real.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the data underneath it seems pretty supportive of it. And wasn't he if memory serves, he was a pretty good closer who some people thought could become a reliever when he was in college, or could be a starter, and it's finally paying off. So I don't know much about him. I could be wrong. I thought when he was at Texas Tech, he was a closer to start. And to go dig deeper,
14th
make sure I'm not wrong in that.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of memory.
Yeah, I could be wrong because the one I'm thinking of wasn't a 14th round pick. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the data underneath it is pretty solid. If you look at his FIP and things like that, I think he's a guy who's developed his pitch mix. He's a pretty big kid, I want to say. No, he's not. He's only 6'2", so apparently shows what I know. But I think I'm just gonna double check his Savant page, but he's got a good FIP.
For what it's worth, Stuff Plus models don't have anything of him above 100. It's like Stuff Plus doesn't think he's all that special, but
he gets a lot of chase with that. He gets a lot of whiff. He doesn't walk guys, and they're not barreling him. He can get hard hit, but he also has a 1, 2, 3, 4, a 6-pitch mix. And like I've been talking about this often in my write-ups. Like when I started doing draft stuff 20 years ago, like 3 pitches and move on. That's fine. You need 4 to 5 or just, pitches anymore.
Yeah.
Like the game has changed in such a way. You need a deep bench, and he uses all those pitches. So I think that could be a part of it. It could be the sum greater than the parts. Because, he's got 4 pitches versus lefties. He's got 3 versus righties. And then that allows him to attack with a varied mix each time. And his pitch run value is, that's mostly noise when you're looking at Savant, like fastball, breaking ball, speed values. But, I would argue it's almost always noise. But right now, those things are saying, that his changeup is really tough. And this team can't hit changeups to save their life. So I assume we'll just see his changeup and he'll look like the potential all-star that he is right now.
Probably is. The other thing I'll say about Davis Martin, I think you're right. It's probably like the metrics do back it up. The one thing that's kind of wonky is that he has a pretty high fly ball rate at 33%. The league, I don't know what his league average is, but he has a 6.9 home run to fly ball rate. So that's pretty low. Like that's pretty unusually low. I think giving up a lot of fly balls and having a low fly ball home run rate probably means there's some kind of luck going on there. But his expected even FIP, if you normalize home run rate, is still 384, which matches, it's only, or 348, and his ERA is 3. So it's not terribly out of line. So he is getting a little bit lucky in the home run department, but not so lucky that it's just going to come crashing back down. So that's going to be a tough matchup for them. Absolutely. That's going to be a tough matchup. You got, what did I say? Slade Ciccone in that one. Hopefully he keeps things going. And then you get back to Gavin, Messick, and Bidey. So I think you got to come away with a split here. Just ask for a split, right?
Yeah. I mean, I will take a split 100% at this point.
I mean, it'd be nice to win. It'd be nice to win 3 or 4 since you lost 2 or 3, but
yeah.
I
think someone in our comments, B Skrills, said they're 6 and 9 since Jose and J-Ram. It's like, I mean, I'm still gonna kind of take that. Like if they're 8 and 11, that's a pretty solid, overall run for them with everything. Like I said, and something we didn't talk about. It's like, Jose was in the box today. Like, did that have a rising effect on the team?
In the box as far as what?
He was with the team. He was on the field.
Oh, he's been there. He's been there the whole homestand.
Has he?
He just got his stitches out the other day. Okay. So when the hand starts feeling better, he'll take batting practice. So we don't know when that'll be, but he got the stitches out. So that's
maybe they're just showing him more today.
Could have been. He's been there though. Yeah, he was there the other day. So all right, let's get into the draft. We've been talking about this for a couple of days that we would do more draft talk because we're very close, Jeff. We got nothing. Yeah, we're only a week away, so not a big deal, Jeff.
10 days, a week and a half. Come on, give me.
Okay, fine. So we talked the other day, I think, about the Sawyer Stroh-Snyder thing, being mocked at 19. There's a lot of ways this could go at 19, right? I think it could go a number of ways. You talked the other day about Taylor Rabe, or I don't think you got to Jack Raedel on the show. Did we get to him?
No. So I like, and I don't think I told you this. I was trying to remember that. Like, how crazy is it? Like, Jack Raedel is from South Dakota. Him and Marcus Phillips, who went 33rd last year, were high school teammates. Like, how crazy?
Oh, the Iowa kid?
No, that was Marcus Morgan. Marcus Phillips is the Tennessee reliever who the Red Sox took. But like, how many South Dakota teams have 2 first rounders ever in the history of that state?
Travis Hafner, right? Or is that North Dakota?
I think it might be North Dakota. Which one? And then Brandon Nimmo was from one of them as well, but I don't know which one.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Hafner was North Dakota. Anyway, go ahead.
But like Jack Raedel is just kind of fun from the perspective of like, okay, so apparently went to a pretty good high school. They had 2 future first round pitchers, 6'5" kid, big, Dakotan farm boy kind of build. Has that posterior that I love in my pitchers because it gives a solid base and tends to avoid injury. And he's got a 5-pitch mix. He has 7 feet of extension, which is huge, which makes the fact that like he's touching 98 look like 100 plus with the 7 feet of extension. And he's been a starter all throughout his career in Notre Dame. No injuries, no anything. He's been incredibly healthy. So Cleveland would draft him. He immediately would need Tommy John, because that's how it works. But I mean, I just like him from that perspective too. It's like there's clearly more on the bone. Notre Dame hadn't had a first round pick since Eric Yagalo in 2013. It's not a great developmental program. They had years of like, I for a long time said you should draft Notre Dame players because they were underdeveloped. That was the previous coaching regime. That's not the current one. The current one has still kind of struggled to build that program back up. And, there just feels like there's a lot of meat on the bone for a big, strong kid with a deep pitch mix, with big extension and good command numbers this year. So like, I like him. And my whole thought process is Jack Raedel in the 19th best player in this class. But in a class like this, it's like, maybe you do consider, because it's so finicky in the middle. Like after you get past the top 5 guys for me, then it falls off a cliff. And it's like, then it's like 6 to 40 is all about the same. So if you take someone who's a little less money, then maybe you can get someone else from that 6 to 40 class, pay him down to 59 because you've saved money. And
question who that is. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. There's a ton of interesting prep arms. Like there's a ton of them. There's like, it's a really good class for interesting prep arms. It's like we got Blake Bryant, someone you and I have never even discussed, and he's like a plus athlete who fits a lot of things like we like. I'm not so big on Borthwick. You like Boloman. I'm not as interested in Boloman because I an older player who's already had arm issues. I'm not so interested.
Strike thrower though. Yeah, I don't know. Brody Mamilla. I don't know where he ends up going, but I could see the Guardians maybe being interested in that demographic just because
they don't go for height anymore. They learned their lesson of Micah Miniard and have not gone for anyone over 6'6" since then.
Oh my god,
he was 6'8", but that's the last guy.
No, wasn't Alex Clemmy 6'7"?
He's 6'6" even.
Okay, close enough.
They have not taken anyone, I believe, over.
Have they gotten away from the whole cold weather thing? Like, remember Lenny Torres and Mitch Brown? Those were like,
that's Alex Clemmy.
Henches was that too.
Yeah. No, they still like the cold weather guy. There's still some things.
Yeah.
I mean,
because you're not going to get
none of them are Luke Von Meyer, but who is?
Oh God. Luke Von Mill, is that what you're saying? Luke Von
Mill, is that his name? I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna buy Archer Horn down to 59.
No, and he's probably gonna go somewhere in the top 30. But there's so many. Same
with Trey Evil. Like I don't think you can get Trey Evil down there anymore. You can't.
But that's the thing is like if you want to buy a prep arm, you can probably buy a prep arm. And let's also be honest, like there's going to be a hitter, maybe not a Trey Evil, maybe not an Archer Horn, but there's going to be a prep hitter who slides because there's one every year. There's always someone you think is going to go higher. It could be a Rocco Manalesco.
Bo Lawrence?
No, I think he's got too many landing spots. But like I'm thinking like a Connor Comier type.
I like Connor Comier. Yeah.
I mean, I think he's a first baseman, third baseman. But like, there's just so many guys. Like I said, Blake Bryant is an excellent athlete, and he could be in that range. There's we know. They've, looking through California stuff, it's like Blake Bowen's going to be expensive. Could they get him late in round 2 and look at what he did with exit velo and his athleticism? Sean Duncan's hurt, but didn't you like Sean Duncan? I kind of liked Sean Duncan, but like big Canadian lefty, and he's going to go somewhere in round 2.
Well, they're already taking one hurt guy. They're going to take. We're going to have them get Miles Bailey in the 3rd round, right?
We'll see if he's even there in the 3rd round. Honestly. I mean, maybe it's Ethan Washman has made himself some money.
I know you really liked him.
I mean, a lot of people are talking about him right now.
Who was the guy we were talking about today? Was it Carlton?
His
last name
Carlton Brady.
Yeah, I mean that's more of like a 4th or 5th rounder, but that's a guy you pay some money to. Again, he reminds me a lot of Jack Leftwich, which scares the crap out of me because I don't love that profile, but. They have taken those young guys from the TNXL Academy in Florida before. I still really like Caden Ferraro. He's rising up boards. I'm pretty sure at this point.
He's just I am split on him. For people who don't know, it's like he hits the crud out of the ball, but for some reason they don't go out of the park, and he has no position at all.
True, very true.
He's a first base DH, probably a DH is his best position. So I don't know what you do. There, but Colton Brady is the TNXL kid who doesn't turn 18 until October. That's very much their type of guy where they pay him like $1.5 million to $2 million in the 9th or 10th round and just get him to pass all the way down the board. Which I'd rather they did that in the 11th round, because then instead of being like $10,000 or whatever the 10th round signing bonus is, they could take off $150,000 from the signing bonus. That's what I wish they would do.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who else I came across the other day that I really liked. I mean, I'm still, I don't know where he's going to wind up going. I still have a soft spot for Caden Bogganpool. Colin Ritchie's data is really interesting.
I don't want anything to do with Bogganpool. If you can't hit in a lower conference, then you're.
Yeah, I don't know where his home is. That's the hard part. Like,
and he struggled with off-seed stuff. Like, there is some things I was reading today that like all he could do was hit fastballs, or maybe all he could do was he could hit off speed and he can't hit a fastball. I can't remember now. It's one or the other. I'm trying to think who else.
It is. I mean, there is. The other guy I looked up the other day too was Grayson Willoughby. I like Grayson Willoughby, but that's another guy you're talking like, 4th, 5th round or whatever it is, like at that point. So interested in him. There is like there's some college arms down the board that I like. Like, I know he's in the transfer portal because he had Tommy John, but like Jake McCoy is really interesting, I think. Are you going to redraft Ryan Marone? I actually really like Jackson Willits when he played in the College World Series. Like, just guys that are further down the board, I think are interesting. So like, it's like you said, that the 6 through 40 is about the same. I think when you get down to the depth, like you've got some interesting guys like Robbie Levy. I don't know if you had a chance to look him up, but
I did. He's just kind of he's very meh. Like, he's just kind of average at everything. The George Washington kid.
He sounds a lot like Jake Lowry. So I thought
Jake Lowry was viewed as a potential power hitter when he came out, is what I remember.
Yeah.
Like, he had hit some home runs. Levy is in George Washington, Atlantic 10 Conference, and he's not hitting for power.
Wasn't Lowry at a smaller school though? Did he go to was it JMU?
Yeah, he was. But I mean, I think he had, he was viewed as a power guy. Like Robbie Labby is just kind of like, you're hoping he's 50s at everything.
Yeah,
he was pretty bad last year in the Cape Cod.
Oh, there is that. Yeah, I know. It'll be an interesting draft. We'll continue to compile names that we like. Maybe we'll start getting into the nitty gritty where we break things down by demographic. High school pitcher, high school hitter, and
it's like Condon, Horn, and Lawrence are probably.
I've come around to Trevor Condon a little bit. I will say I was not a big Trevor Condon guy. The more I dig, the more I'm interested. So I think like I don't love him at 19.
I do. I think he's clearly a top 20 talent. So I'd be fine. But I also don't think he gets past the Reds. But I mean, he's fine. I wouldn't be against it. I do think the high school hitter class is interesting this year, but that's why I said I'm all in on a it's not a good class. Like that's just, if you have a top 3 pick, it's great. After that, not so much. Like, I mean, I like Jackson Flora, but he's a 2.5 pitch guy right now, and that's your 4th best player.
Like, those are great. Wish Cam Flukie would fall to 19, but he probably won't. Like, I'd go that route. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I like a lot of the college pitchers in their range, but then I feel like they don't take college pitchers, so it doesn't matter. It's like
they have not. Like
I would be okay with Townsend. I'd be okay with Ray. I'd be okay with Raedel or Dietz or Redman.
I still like Tegan Coons. I know you're not on Coons.
I
like Tegan Coons.
He's in that range for me.
Yeah. One guy I really don't want is Mason Edwards. Like, I'm not interested in him in the range he's in.
Yeah, I don't have him in that grouping of arms personally.
Yeah. Take Daniel Jackson. He won the Golden Spikes Award, which means he's guaranteed for greatness, right? That's how that works.
Well, we know they won't take him because he's right-handed.
That's true, and he's probably not a catcher anyway.
No, he's not a catcher, not at all. It's all power, nothing else. He's in the 30s for me.
Georgia cheats at home anyway, so it doesn't matter.
No.
All right, we've gone pretty long here. Hope you enjoyed the draft talk. I hope you learned something today and you feel good about the Guardians going into this important White Sox series. Jeff is playing me off like the Oscars once again, so we'll be back tomorrow to talk Guardians, White Sox, maybe more draft.
Thank you all, and go Guardians, go.